Continuing here, a word about Trump and what Peter Schiff was saying, and disagreeing with some of the maneuvers of Trump. I think we have to trust Donald Trump, and I really do believe that I've heard this term 4D chess. We really have to 4D chess. That we have to understand that Trump is having to play this 4D chess. He knows darn well that what he's trying to do goes against the status quo. It goes against the establishment. It goes against totalitarianism, authoritarianism, communism, socialism, and all these things. Because what he's talking about, what Trump really wants to do is instill pure capitalism, true capitalism. And if that ever succeeds, it would turn the ship around. Okay, it would. It would put the economy on a different track and trajectory, okay? And it would close the wealth and income disparity, not by taking from the wealthy, but by allowing those that are not wealthy to be wealthy, okay? That's what true capitalism will bring. It's through supply and demand. It brings great abundance. And it brings a lower work week, and no jobs that revolve around problems that just need to be maintained in order to have job security. That's what I'm talking about here. That's what he's smart enough to see this. It's true. I mean, you say, oh, it's not that diabolical. You're being a little paranoid and cynical. No, I'm not. You know, there's one thing you don't want to do is underestimate how diabolical these people are. Okay, do it to your own detriment, but I'm not going to do it. I know that these are madmen. These are haters. These are genocidal freaks. Okay, that's who they are at the top. That's what Satan is. He would like to kill all of us. He hates all human beings. We are made in the image and likeness of God. He is made in the image and likeness of a demon. Okay, that's about the size of it. That's why the depictions are always so ungodly, because he's got that Diablo thing going on. He's the devil. He's the bad guy. Okay, and he's the dark knight, and so that's black hat. He's a black hat, you know. And all those minions, witting or not. Remember, so if they're human beings, we have to assume that they're unwitting, that they themselves are deceived, because nobody would choose to be on Satan's side knowing that he's going to lose and knowing what a terrible place he and his followers are going to go to. So those that are enlightened need to be consistent and try to reach the people that are fallen, that are out there on a limb. And we have to assume they don't know it. We can say, well, they sure act like they know it. They're way too intelligent to not know it. So maybe they are really, truly evil. And they really are truly deceivers. And they think they're so much smarter in this. And so they're given this entitlement to go out and deceive the masses because they think it's good for the earth, right? That's how these people think, right? They rationalize to the nth degree. So, yes, you got to understand, these people are tricky. They're cunning. They're baffling. I mean, you wonder why they do it, because the system could work fine and they could keep their wealth and just enjoy their stinking little lives like every other mortal human being on the face of the earth. But they can't do it. They can't leave well enough alone. They've got to meddle. They've got to interfere. So if they didn't do that, if God's will is really being done, and God has anointed Donald Trump to be the leader of this movement of taking over, the good guys taking over. Good, fantastic. It's still scary. It's daunting to think what things are going to have to come to pass in the interim before the ship turned, before the evildoers finally know and they start giving up. We see all these terrorist attacks are reaching a fever pitch in Europe. It's going on all over the place. I mean, you know, a cop being stabbed randomly at the airport in Flint, Michigan, right? Why? While the guy's screaming Allahu Akbar, you're serving God by stabbing an innocent law enforcement officer. Okay, you know what? I mean, you're serving Satan. It's as clear as the light of day. That's what's going on here. People are possessed by Satan. All these people. And the ISIS and the New World Order cabal, they're all one and the same. And like this guy I pointed out on Forensic Files, I mean, this kind of thinking. This guy, it turns out he was into that. His own mother outed him. She knew he was into devil worship. And that was the best thing she could do to redeem herself and say, look, this is the guy, man. This is my own son, my own flesh and blood. It just boggles the mind. But this is evil. This is evil, and it's sickening. enough on that. But just be aware that, evil has a lot of power still in this world. And it's a little bit foreboding to wonder what's going to have to come to pass before the ship turns. And, finally, the good guy is just, by overwhelming force, we're just going to take over. But I do believe Trump knows all this stuff. He knows how controversial it is, how antithetical this is to the establishment and all those people that support the establishment, support the poverty industrial complex continuing on, keep going on this trajectory of exploding poverty, exploding wealth disparity. Okay, they want that to keep on going, and it's evil. It's evil. There's no other way to put it. So these people are all evil, whether they know it or not. They're evil. Their fruits are rotten, and they stink to high heavens. But these are the people we need to reach and convince to win over to the light. We've got to try, even if it feels like we're, beating our head against the wall sometimes. But we're told to not throw our pearls before swine, and that's not an easy parable to decipher, but one has to think about it. You can't ever compromise your own integrity. You can't use their methodology. You can't trick them, okay? You've got to use your own natural instincts to reach people, but you can't compromise your own integrity in the process. To me, that's what my pearls are: my honor, my dignity, my self-respect, all these kind of things. Those must be our pearls, our values. Okay, so we can't throw those before them. We have to use the right methods that don't compromise our integrity while we're trying to reach the evil people. Whether you believe that they know that they're evil, they know that they're deceiving you. Okay, that's the hardest people to want to reach. I mean, these are the people you just want lightning to strike. You don't want to get anywhere near them. You're George Soros types. Has anybody thought about George Soros supporting all these, what they call lefty groups, this snowflakes and all this? And he's paying a lot of money to these people to go be disruptive protesters and whatnot, to squelch free speech. That's what they hate free speech because it hurts, it stings their ears. It's just like holy water to a demon. They don't like it. They don't want to hear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But this is what now is being crammed down their throat, just like the nonsense that's been crammed down the throats of the saints and the righteous people for so long. And now they're having to hear it, and they don't like it. But how much of that money that these people have gotten has gone to say, well, this is extra money. I was already getting school loans or welfare, or maybe I had a, what do you call these things that people get from their, usually from their parents, their trust fund, right? Maybe they got a trust fund, or maybe, who knows, maybe they got a job. Okay, maybe they're making their bills, but they get a little extra money from George Soros, and they go out and they buy heroin. We know this is an epidemic in America today. How many people are dying? Now they're killing themselves. Now, through attrition, George Soros is going to lose his minions. So on one hand, the genocidal maniacs, they like that because they want to reduce the population, but they want it to start with the good guys losing their lives. They don't like to see the bad guys, the black hats, losing their lives. I mean, and to me, these are the least guilty of all. It's just those are the lowest rung radicals out there that ascribe to this Saul Alinsky tactic, the rules for radicals and all this, where the same things that you're guilty of, you're blaming somebody else. It's a diversion. It's a distraction from your own evil goings on. It's like Hillary in the election and Bev Harris and the black box voting again. The same thing. We all know that she stole the election from Bernie, stole it outright. I knew that from the get-go she was going to do that, as did so many other people. And then she tried to steal the election. Thought, I'm going to win this for sure, so let's make sure that I do, and let's get the illegals out there because, we know I'm on your side. I'm going to let all of you illegal aliens stay because Obama, he opened the floodgates, right, to let all that happen. And under the guise that he's the compassionate one, he has empathy. And if you don't support unbridled immigration, you're not a good humanitarian. You're not a good American. You're not compassionate. You're not merciful. You're not empathetic, right? Isn't that how it all played out? Which is just lies. I mean, Obama, as far as I'm concerned, maybe he's deceived. It's my job to reach out to Obama and say, Obama, I believe you're in the darkness. Now come to the light. Come to the light. The best thing America can do for the rest of the world is to set a good example, right? We've all heard, and we know that it's true in our hearts, in our instinctively, intuitively, we know it's true that you teach best by example. So if you believe your own rhetoric, then you need to teach best by example. And America should be looked at as a family. Okay, that's it. That's what the union is. Okay, is a family. And we need to get our own act together before we start trying to tell other people how to get their act together. And that's not even the greatest incentive. The greatest incentive for these dubious wars has been to create instability in these regions and create all these refugees, this refugee crisis, and it's a last-ditch effort to prop up the economy through putting an unnatural, artificial, created, manufactured demand on things. Okay, that's what they're doing. That's what they've been doing, folks. So yes, you could say, well, no, they also want to put labor class in its place. You cocky, haughty labor class, like Bill Kristol, the reporter, said. He thinks it's good because it's putting, our blue-collar workers in their place. All these entitled people that think they ought to be able to have dignity and be able to go out and buy a house on a minimum wage job. Oh, no, no, no. No, you got to be put in your place. You're not going to get freedom. Okay, you got to be a rent slave forever. That's really what's going on here. So yes, that's, it's twofold. They get that perk and the other perk. Do you understand how they're hitting us on so many fronts, it makes my head spin. We all feel a little overwhelmed. That's why it's so important to stay focused on the Federal Reserve, this money printing class, and their political whores, okay? These are the people that need to get into a room all together, okay, and figure out how the national debt's going to get paid. Illegitimate, okay? That's their problem. You go duke it out with the Chinese or whoever you borrowed money from. But don't put that on the backs of the people. That doesn't belong to we the people, okay? So let's stay focused and let's go for the jugular. And that's, the best advice I could give Donald Trump. Just keep carrying on, man. I think the Spirit of God, if you listen to the Spirit of God, if you believe in the same Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, that I do, it's all going to work out. You're doing the right thing. And, your life is in jeopardy. This is a serious thing. I admire the crap out of people that put their lives in jeopardy. And to whatever degree I'm doing, I'm sticking my neck out there too. I know about Arkansas. I mean, these people have a far-reaching hand. They can go after anybody they want, anywhere, not only in America, but the world. So my life is in jeopardy too, just by exposing the evil. But I don't need to taunt them. But I need to say, look, man, repent or perish. That's the sternest warning I could give anybody. It's the same thing Jesus said. That's it, man. This is about your salvation, where you're going from here. Get it together, man. Don't do the things that people tell you to do for money. Don't be a hired killer, okay? These people are going to hell. You don't want to go to the same place as these people. An addendum to, I posted the interview with Alex Jones and Megyn Kelly. And I forgot to mention something very important, just that how Megyn Kelly had sweet-talked Alex. Alex had recorded her. And he even let her know straight up. So she went into this hit piece that she calls an interview, full knowing that Alex had taped her. And it's a one-party consent state, so he did it all above board. It's all legal, what he did by taping Megyn Kelly. And he told her, but she really sweet-talked him, promised him it wasn't going to be a hit piece, and how no, she just found him very intriguing and, wanted to hear from him. So that was a bit underhanded by Kelly, and especially in the light that Alex, he released all that too. I believe he even released it pre-interview. So she knew. She not only knew because he told her he taped her, but he had released what she had said, the sweet-talking and all this, to get him to do the interview in the first place. So I just thought that was important to point that out. We had a destroyer collide with a freighter near Japan, and like everybody else, that's absurd. With today's technology and radar systems and the satellite systems and all this crap, how in the hell could that happen? Mind-blowing. I mean, you just got to wonder how something of that magnitude could happen in this day and age. But yet it did. I mean, if that can happen, what can't happen, you know? Oh, and I said that I had coined this term vomitable. Well, what I meant was the first time that I used that word, I've got the big fat Webster's dictionary, and I looked up the term in there, and it was not in there. So I assumed that I was the first one to start using that term, but it turns out you can find it plentifully online, and I don't know really who coined it, but I think it's an appropriate word to describe the feeling that's induced by so many of these evil people in the world. I mean, they make me sick. That the idea that they, in order to, these are the kind of people I think they are. Okay, in a nutshell, they're the kind of people that, if they had a choice, if God sat them down and said, "Look, you can keep all your worldly wealth, your status, your lot in this life."